Hello, and welcome back to The Biz. Once again, my name is Jim Henry, president of Atlas Wealth Advisors, and today I want to talk to you about some basic practice math. Now, if you've been watching our videos, the first one that I released was on beginning with the end in mind. I think it's such a valuable way to look at it. Anytime we're trying to accomplish a practice goal, maybe even just something a little bit smaller or more immediate, is always asking ourselves, what is the ultimate outcome that we're looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the point of what we're doing here? The second one we talked about was trust the process. Okay, so now we've got a goal. How do we build a plan or a process in order to reach it? And what kind of daily, weekly, monthly discipline do we need to get there? And then the last video that I shot before this one was on client segmentation. You know, what are our clients really worth? What's the math of our practice? What is an average relationship worth? Now, when we're looking at our actual practice, now this is really high-level math. Hopefully you can follow along. The revenue of our practice, pretty simple, is a function of how many households we have, and you may call it differently. You may look at it from an account level. You may look at it and call it relationships, whatever. Households times the average revenue per household equals your total revenue, right? Pretty basic stuff, but I think it's really potentially really valuable to look at it this way. Because when we start thinking about what do I want to grow this practice into, right? What do I want this to be? I want to go from, whatever my revenue is today to 2x, right? I want to double the revenue. Let's talk about it in that way. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to double the number of households that you have? Are you going to keep the households the same, double your average revenue? Or more likely, it's sort of some combination of both. Because if we add households, well, how easy is it to do that? Not only do we have to go out and find those folks, but the other thing is like, what about servicing? How many relationships? Now, a lot of people have different opinions on how many relationships one advisor can cover. How many service folks can you have helping you? You're probably maybe part of a team, and there might be multiple. So there might be 3 lead advisors, 5, whatever the number is, could be 10. So what about per person? Are we all on the same page here? How many service relationships per person? Can some handle 100 and some handle 200 or 300 or more? Who knows, right? So, hopefully you do know because it's your practice. But a lot of things come along with that. Okay, so we don't want to just increase. Maybe we're willing to go 1.3x. Well, then what does our average revenue per household need to equal? And how are we going to get there? Are we going to replace some of our existing relationships? That's a whole different conversation. How do we do that? How do we service the clients that we have that maybe don't fit into our practice math as well? Or if we're going to keep our clients the same and we're going to add new, 30% more relationships, if we go 1.3x, well, then we might need to have an average revenue of 2.5 times what our average revenue per client is today. I told you it was easy math, but it can get a little bit complicated, right? And then what do you do with that information? Well, you figure out how many of these people we have. Do we have any of those clients that fit what we need to make the math work? And how can we find more? Beginning with the end in mind. Let's do marketing geared toward making this equation work. Because I'll tell you right now, if you just go out and sort of say, now, guess what? A lot of people don't really care about increasing revenue. And that's okay. They're probably not watching this video. But if you're trying to increase revenue, then you've got to begin with the end in mind. And maybe the marketing, a lot of advisors, even successful ones, they tell me things like, well, yeah, I get referrals and I'm happy and my clients love me and, I get new relationships. And that is awesome. That is great. But that's not really leading you anywhere in particular. It's just sort of leading you wherever. The other thing that I hear a lot is, I did this client event and I love it and it's fun and that's also great. But if it's giving you clients that aren't fitting this math, right? Either too many households that don't have enough revenue or too many clients that don't fit into where you're going, you've got to stop doing that exercise. And this is where a lot of times the math won't lie to you. And I think this is how I would look at your practice. I would make sure you have these numbers, do client segmentation, know what your households are worth, how many you have, and then figure out what you want this to be. Because if this is $1 million and you want to go to 2, how are you going to do that? And you got to figure it out. So hopefully this helps. I love talking about it. If I could ever help you, please reach out. I want to talk about this more and more and more, but I don't want to take too much of your time. So any other ideas or questions, please reach out. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.